Bruno Fernandes unhappy. The tactical decision that could cost Ruben Amorim everything. Welcome to United News, where we bring you the truth about Manchester United that other sources might sugarcoat or ignore. If you want real analysis, honest opinions, and insights into what is actually happening behind the scenes at Old Trafford, this is where you need to be. We are not here to make you feel good with false hope. We are here to tell you what is really going on, good or bad. And today, we have a story that should worry every single Manchester United fan. A story about your captain, your best player, and a tactical decision that makes absolutely no sense. This is about Bruno Fernandes, the role Ruben Amorim is forcing him to play, and why this situation could destroy United's entire season. The problem everyone can see. Let me start with something that should be obvious to anyone who has watched Manchester United this season. Bruno Fernandes is not playing well. Not even close to his usual standards. The man who has been United's most creative player for years, the captain who drags the team forward with his energy and vision, looks like a shadow of himself. His numbers are down. His influence on matches is minimal. He looks frustrated, uncomfortable, and completely out of sorts. But here is the thing that makes this situation so maddening. This is not about Bruno suddenly forgetting how to play football. This is not about him losing his ability overnight. This is not even about age catching up with him. This is about Ruben Amorim making a terrible tactical decision and stubbornly sticking with it even when it is clearly not working. Bruno Fernandes is unhappy, and he has every right to be. What Ben Jacobs revealed. Ben Jacobs is a respected football journalist with good sources inside Manchester United. When he speaks about what is happening at Old Trafford, people listen because he tends to have accurate information. And what Jacobs revealed this week should set alarm bells ringing throughout the club. Speaking on the United stand, Jacobs explained that Bruno Fernandes is unhappy with the deeper midfield role Ruben Amorim has asked him to play. However, he was careful to point out that Bruno does not have a problem with Amorim personally. In Jacobs' words, "You have Bruno Fernandes, who I wouldn't call unhappy with his manager. If anything, they've got a positive relationship. He's the captain of the football club. But he's unhappy with playing that deeper role. This is crucial information. Bruno still respects Amorim. He still supports him as manager. Their personal relationship remains positive. This is not a case of player versus manager or a toxic dressing room situation. But Bruno is clearly frustrated with the tactical role he has been given. And that frustration is showing in his performances. Why this is such a stupid decision? Let me be brutally honest here. Playing Bruno Fernandes in a deep midfield role is one of the dumbest tactical decisions I have seen a Manchester United manager make in years. And that is saying something because we have seen some terrible decisions from United managers recently. Think about what makes Bruno Fernandes great. What are his best qualities as a footballer? He creates chances. He scores goals. He makes things happen in the final third. He has vision to pick out passes that other players cannot see. He arrives late in the box to finish moves. He takes risks that unlock defenses. These are all attacking qualities. These are things you do in the opponent's half, not in your own half. Now think about what a deep midfielder needs to do. They need to shield the defense. They need to track runners coming from deep. They need to sit in position and maintain structure. They need to make safe, simple passes to keep possession. These are defensive qualities. These are things that require discipline, positional sense, and a defensive mentality. Bruno Fernandes does not have these qualities. He never has. And asking him to suddenly develop them at this stage of his career is madness. It is like buying a Ferrari and then using it to tow a caravan. Yes, technically it can do the job, but you are wasting what makes it special. What Bruno's best position actually is. Let me remind everyone what Bruno Fernandes looks like when he plays in his proper position. At his best, Bruno operates in that advanced midfield role, the number 10 position, where he has freedom to roam, create, and influence matches. He is given license to take risks, to try ambitious passes, to push forward and support attackers. In this role, Bruno has been one of the most productive players in Premier League history. His numbers for goals and assists since joining Manchester United have been incredible. He has single-handedly won matches for United countless times. He thrives when he has freedom. when he can follow his instincts, when he does not have to worry too much about defensive responsibilities, when he can focus on what he does best, creating and scoring. But in a deeper role, all of Bruno's strengths become weaknesses. His tendency to take risks becomes a liability when you need safe possession. His attacking instincts leave gaps in midfield. His lack of defensive discipline exposes the back line. It is not that Bruno cannot pass the ball from deep positions. He can. It is not that he refuses to defend. He tries. But he is fundamentally uncomfortable in that role, and it shows in every match. The evidence is clear. You do not need to be a tactical genius to see that playing Bruno deeper is not working. The evidence is there every single weekend. Bruno's goal contributions are way down this season. He is not creating as many chances. He is not scoring as many goals. His influence on matches has diminished dramatically. But it is not just about numbers. Watch him play. Really watch him. You can see the frustration on his face. You can see him looking uncomfortable. You can see him trying to push forward but being called back to defend. You can see a player who is not playing his natural game. And when Bruno is not playing well, Manchester United do not play well. He has been their most important player for years. When he is firing, United look dangerous. When he is struggling, the whole team suffers. This season, with Bruno stuck in a deeper role, United's attack has looked toothless. They do not create enough chances. They do not look threatening. And a big reason for that is their best creator is sitting too deep to influence matches properly. Why is Amorim doing this? So why on earth is Ruben Amorim persisting with this obviously flawed tactical decision? What is his thinking? The answer seems to be that Amorim's 3-4-2-1 system requires certain types of players in certain positions. And in his ideal setup, he wants two deeper midfielders who can control the game and protect the defense. The problem is that Manchester United do not have two quality deep-lying midfielders. So Amorim has tried to convert Bruno into one. He is trying to fit his best player into a system rather than adapting the system to suit his best player. This is backwards thinking. Good managers build their tactics around their best players. They maximize what those players do well. They do not try to force them into roles they are unsuited for. Sir Alex Ferguson understood this perfectly. He built teams around his best players. He adapted his tactics to get the most out of them. He did not have a rigid system that everyone had to fit into regardless of whether it suited them. But Amorim seems determined to stick with his system no matter what. Even if it means wasting Bruno Fernandes. Even if it means making United's attack weaker. Even if it means frustrating your captain. This stubbornness is becoming a real problem. The impact on United's attack. Let me explain how playing Bruno deeper affects Manchester United's entire attacking play. When Bruno plays in his natural advanced role, United have a genuine creator in dangerous areas. He can pick up the ball in the final third and make things happen. He can slip passes through for forwards. He can shoot from distance. He can arrive late in the box. But when Bruno sits deeper, there is a massive gap between midfield and attack. United's forwards become isolated. There is nobody to link play between midfield and attack. The team becomes disjointed. You see this in almost every match. United's attackers receive the ball with their backs to goal, surrounded by defenders, with no support. They are expected to create chances out of nothing because there is no creativity coming from midfield. Meanwhile, Bruno is sitting 30 yards further back, spraying passes to the flanks but never getting close enough to the goal to really hurt opponents. This is not a coincidence. This is a direct result of the tactical setup Amorim has chosen. United need Bruno higher up the pitch. They need him in positions where he can create overloads in attack. They need him arriving in the box to score goals. They need him doing what he does best. Instead, they have him sitting deep, trying to be something he is not. The relationship between Bruno and Amorim. Here is what makes this situation particularly tricky. According to Ben Jacobs, Bruno and Amorim still have a positive relationship. Bruno respects the manager. He wants to support him. He is trying his best to make this work. This is important because it means the situation has not become toxic yet. Bruno is not throwing tantrums or demanding a transfer or complaining to the media. He is being professional about his frustration. But how long can this last? How long can Bruno continue to play out of position, performing below his usual standards, before the frustration boils over? Players are human. They have pride. They want to perform well. When a tactical decision prevents them from showing their best qualities, resentment builds. Even if you like and respect your manager, eventually you start questioning their judgment. Bruno being unhappy now is just the start. If Amorim does not change this situation, it could become a real problem that damages his relationship with the club's most important player. And when you lose your captain, when your best player stops believing in you, you are in serious trouble as a manager. What other managers would do? Let me contrast Amorim's approach with what other top managers would do in this situation. Pep Guardiola builds his Manchester City team around Kevin De Bruyne. He gives De Bruyne freedom to create, even if it means sacrificing some defensive stability. He understands that getting the best out of his star player is worth more than rigid tactical perfection. Jurgen Klopp did the same with Mohamed Salah at Liverpool. He built an entire system designed to get Salah into dangerous positions. He maximized what made Salah special. Mikel Arteta has adapted Arsenal's tactics to suit Martin Odegaard, giving him the freedom to orchestrate attacks from his preferred position. These are the best managers in world football, and they all understand the same principle. You build your tactics around your best players, not the other way around. But Amorim seems determined to do the opposite. He has his system, and everyone must fit into it regardless of whether it suits them. This is the mark of an inflexible coach. And inflexible coaches rarely succeed at the highest level. The solution is obvious. Ben Jacobs actually suggested a solution to this problem during his interview. He mentioned that a 4-1-4-1 formation might work better for United's current squad. In this setup, you would have one deep midfielder, probably Kobbie Mainoo or Manuel Ugarte, sitting in front of the defense. Then you would have Bruno Fernandes in a more advanced central midfield role where he has freedom to create. This makes perfect sense. It solves multiple problems at once. First, it gets Bruno into a position where he can actually influence matches. He would be higher up the pitch, closer to the goal, able to create chances and score. Second, it allows United to play a proper defensive midfielder in the holding role. Someone who is actually comfortable sitting deep and protecting the defense. Third, it gives United more flexibility in attack. Bruno could link up with forwards more easily. The team would be less disjointed. But implementing this solution would require Amorim to abandon his precious 3-4-2-1 system. It would mean admitting that his tactics are not working with these players. It would mean showing flexibility and pragmatism. And so far, Amorim has shown no willingness to do any of that. The transfer solution. There is another potential solution to this problem, but it involves spending money in the transfer market. Jacobs mentioned that United might need to sign a new central midfielder who can play in that deep role effectively. Someone who is comfortable sitting in front of the defense, controlling possession, and maintaining structure. If United signed the right player for that position, it would allow Bruno to move higher up the pitch. The team could keep Amorim's preferred system but with players who are actually suited to each role. This is not a terrible solution. United probably need to strengthen central midfield anyway. Bringing in a quality deep-lying midfielder would improve the squad. But here is the problem. Why should Manchester United spend money to fix a problem that should not exist in the first place? They already have Bruno Fernandes, one of the best attacking midfielders in world football. They should be building tactics to maximize his strengths, not buying new players to compensate for tactics that do not suit him. It would be like having a world-class striker and then buying a target man because your tactics require one. Why not just change the tactics to suit the world-class striker you already have? This is wasteful thinking. It is poor management, and it should not be necessary. What this means for United's season. Let me be very clear about the stakes here. If Ruben Amorim does not fix this Bruno Fernandes situation, Manchester United's season is in serious danger. Bruno has been United's most important player for years. When he plays well, United have a chance in any match. When he does not play well, United struggle to create anything. Right now, by playing him in the wrong position, Amorim is essentially handicapping his own team. He is taking his best player and making him less effective. This is particularly problematic because United's squad is not strong enough to compensate. They do not have other creators who can pick up the slack. They do not have enough goals throughout the team. They need Bruno firing on all cylinders. They need him creating chances. They need him scoring goals. They need him being the player who has made him so valuable. Instead, they have him sitting deep, looking frustrated, and performing well below his capabilities. If this continues, United will not finish in the top 4. They might not even make Europa League. And Amorim will be out of a job. The pressure is building. Here is something that should worry Amorim. The longer Bruno continues to struggle in this deeper role, the more questions people will ask. Fans are already frustrated. They can see that Bruno is not being used properly. They are starting to question Amorim's tactical decisions. Pundits and journalists are noticing too. Stories like the one from Ben Jacobs will keep coming. The narrative is forming. Amorim is misusing his best player. And once that narrative takes hold, it is very difficult to shake. It becomes the story of your tenure. The thing everyone remembers about your time at the club. Amorim is already under pressure because of poor results. 2 wins from 6 matches is not good enough. Adding a story about the captain being unhappy and playing out of position only increases that pressure. At some point, even the most patient ownership will start to question whether you are the right man for the job. Learning from past mistakes. Manchester United have been here before. They have had managers who stubbornly stuck with tactics that did not work, who tried to force players into roles that did not suit them, who prioritized their system over getting the best out of their best players. Louis van Gaal did this. He had a rigid philosophy that everyone had to follow, even when it was boring and ineffective. Players like Angel Di Maria and Radamel Falcao struggled because they could not fit into his system. Jose Mourinho did this too. He fell out with Paul Pogba partly because he wanted Pogba to be a disciplined defensive midfielder, when Pogba's best qualities were in attack. These managers all failed at Manchester United. And one of the reasons they failed was their inflexibility, their refusal to adapt, their insistence that players must fit their system rather than building a system around the players. Amorim is in danger of making the same mistake. History is repeating itself. And unless he learns from these past failures, he will suffer the same fate. What Bruno brings to United. Let me remind everyone what Manchester United get when Bruno Fernandes is playing in his proper position and performing at his best. Goals. Bruno scores goals. Important goals. He has scored crucial winners and equalizers throughout his United career. He arrives late in the box and finishes chances that other midfielders would miss. Assists. Bruno creates more chances than almost any other player in the Premier League. His vision and passing range are exceptional. He can unlock defenses with a single pass. Leadership. Bruno is the captain. He drags teammates forward with his energy and determination. He demands standards. He shows passion and commitment. Creativity. Bruno makes things happen. He tries the difficult pass. He takes shots from distance. He creates moments of magic that can change matches. All of these qualities are wasted when he plays in a deep role. United are not getting the player they have. They are getting a diminished version who cannot show his best qualities. This is criminal mismanagement of a world-class talent. The tactical tension. Ben Jacobs used an interesting phrase when describing this situation. He called it a tactical tension rather than a crisis. This is accurate for now. Bruno is unhappy but not in open rebellion. He is still trying to make it work. The relationship with Amorim remains positive. But tactical tensions have a way of becoming crises if they are not resolved. Small frustrations grow into big problems. Professional disagreements turn personal. Players lose faith in the manager's judgment. Amorim needs to resolve this tension before it becomes something worse. He needs to find a way to use Bruno properly. He needs to show that he values his captain's happiness and effectiveness. If he does not, this tactical tension will become the crisis that ends his Manchester United career. What needs to happen next? The solution to this problem is actually very simple. Ruben Amorim needs to do one of two things. Option 1. Change the system. Move to a formation that allows Bruno to play in his natural attacking role. Yes, this means abandoning the 3-4-2-1 that Amorim loves. But if your system does not work with your best players, you need to change the system. Option 2. Sign a new midfielder in the next transfer window who can play the deep role effectively. This allows you to keep your system but with players who are actually suited to each position. Bruno moves higher, the new player sits deep, everyone is happy. What Amorim cannot do is continue with the current situation. He cannot keep playing Bruno in a role he is unsuited for and expect different results. That is the definition of insanity. The sooner Amorim makes one of these changes, the better. Every week that passes with Bruno playing out of position is a wasted week. United are handicapping themselves unnecessarily. The bigger picture. This Bruno Fernandes situation is actually part of a bigger problem at Manchester United under Ruben Amorim. The manager seems more interested in implementing his perfect system than in getting the best out of the players he has. He makes decisions based on what his tactics require rather than what makes sense for his squad. We saw this with the goalkeeper situation. He stubbornly stuck with Altay Bayındır for 6 matches even though everyone could see it was not working. He only made the change when the pressure became unbearable. We are seeing it now with Bruno playing deeper. The evidence is clear that it is not working. But Amorim persists because his system demands it. This is not how successful managers operate. Great managers are pragmatic. They adapt. They make tough decisions quickly when something is not working. They prioritize results over ideology. Amorim needs to learn this lesson fast. Because at Manchester United, results are all that matter. Your tactics mean nothing if you are not winning matches. And right now, with Bruno playing out of position and the team struggling, United are not winning nearly enough. A warning to Amorim. Let me issue a clear warning to Ruben Amorim. You are running out of time to fix this situation. Manchester United fans are patient, but that patience has limits. We have endured years of poor management decisions. We are tired of watching talented players being misused. We are frustrated with managers who prioritize their systems over common sense. If you do not sort out the Bruno Fernandes situation, if you continue to play him in the wrong position despite clear evidence it is not working, you will lose the fans. And when you lose the fans at Manchester United, your job becomes impossible. The pressure becomes unbearable. The criticism becomes relentless. You still have time to fix this. You still have the support of the dressing room, including Bruno himself. But you need to act now. You need to show flexibility. You need to put the team's success ahead of your tactical ideology. Because if you don't, you will be just another failed Manchester United manager. Another name on the list of people who could not handle the pressure at Old Trafford. The choice is yours. What fans are thinking. Let me speak for Manchester United fans for a moment and tell you what we are all thinking. We are worried. We see Bruno struggling. We see him playing in the wrong position. We see a world-class player being wasted. And we are wondering why our manager cannot see what is so obvious to everyone else. We are frustrated. We have watched this same pattern before. New manager comes in with rigid tactics, tries to force players into roles that do not suit them, refuses to adapt even when it is clearly not working, eventually gets sacked. We are running out of patience. We want Bruno back in his proper position. We want to see him creating chances and scoring goals. We want our captain playing like the star he is. But most of all, we are scared that Amorim is going to be another failed appointment. Another manager who looked good on paper but could not handle Manchester United. Another wasted season while we watch other clubs succeed. This Bruno situation feels like a test. If Amorim can fix it, if he can show flexibility and pragmatism, maybe he has what it takes. But if he stubbornly persists with a decision that everyone can see is wrong, then we know he is not the right man for this job. We are watching Ruben. We are waiting. Please do not let us down. Final thoughts. The Bruno Fernandes situation is more than just a tactical disagreement. It is a window into how Ruben Amorim operates as a manager. And what we see through that window is concerning. A manager who prioritizes his system over his players. A manager who will not adapt even when his decisions are clearly not working. A manager who risks alienating his captain and best player because he cannot let go of his tactical ideology. This does not bode well for Amorim's future at Manchester United. Bruno is unhappy. His performances have dropped. United's attack has suffered. The team is struggling. And all of this is unnecessary. It is self-inflicted. It is entirely within Amorim's power to fix. The question is whether he will. Whether he has the humility to admit his approach is not working. Whether he has the flexibility to change. Whether he values results more than his ego. We will find out soon enough. Because one way or another, this situation cannot continue. Either Amorim fixes it or it fixes him. Either Bruno gets back to his best or Amorim gets the sack. Those are the only two possible outcomes. And right now, it is not clear which one we are heading toward. Stay informed with Unite United News. Thank you for reading this analysis here at Unite United News. We know it was not easy reading. We know it raised uncomfortable truths about the current situation at Manchester United. But that is what we do here. We tell you the truth even when it is difficult. We do not sugarcoat problems. We do not pretend everything is fine when it clearly is not. The Bruno Fernandes situation is serious. It threatens to derail United's entire season if it is not fixed. And every United fan needs to understand what is happening and why it matters. Keep coming back to Unite United News for more honest analysis, insider information, and passionate discussion about Manchester United. We are your community, your source, your home for all things Red Devils. Together, we will get through these difficult times. Together, we will keep supporting our club. Together, we will demand better from those in charge. Stay strong, stay informed, and never stop caring about Manchester United. Glory, glory, Man United. We are all in this together.